Welcome, friends.
Hello, everyone. We hope that you've been having a wonderful beginning of your July. We're trying to stay cool, just like we imagine you probably are too. And one of the things we're using to do that is our herbal teas.
We love to get the day started with a hot tea, and it's usually our Gray's Garden tea that we love to make. But right now in the afternoons, which I love to have in the refrigerator, is the hyssop, the anise hyssop. And it is such a delightful fragrance, and it feels so good as it goes down. It's just like it really belongs here. And I love making it. So I keep it in the refrigerator so it's ready to go in the oven afternoon. I can go out on my front porch for a little rocking chair therapy and have my cold brew.
Yeah, over ice is the best way in July for sure.
Or just even cold out of the fridge, because I do like it that way too.
Yeah, I do too.
It's wonderful. One of the other things I might mention is that going up and down my lane, I have taken really a strong notice this year because they are all over, more prolific than I have ever seen them, and that is the Queen Anne's lace.
Ah, yeah.
That is my very favorite summer wild plant, the wild herb.
Yeah, I remember even when I was a kid, you'd make bouquets of the Queen Anne's lace during the summertime.
It's always on my table this time of the year.
It's so pretty.
And if you stop in the shop, we will always have it in here during the month of July for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe even into August. But it is a beautiful, beautiful flower. Lacy, because it's called Queen Anne's lace.
Right.
So it looks lacy, very feminine, very delicate, delightful looking flower. One of those you could use in a florist bouquet.
Yeah, it really is. And they last for a while in a bouquet, which is nice.
A bridal bouquet even would be beautiful with the wildflowers. One of the things I like to do with Queen Anne's lace is make jelly in the summer.
Oh, yes. Yummy.
I make an infusion of just the blossoms, and then I can make a jelly out of it. And because it's a clear jelly, I like to add just a little petal of dried hibiscus, and that makes it turn pink. So it's a very pretty, pretty jelly. And wonderful to give as gifts. So there is a lot you can do with Queen Anne's lace. It is one of those that will come up all on its own year after year. It's flat umbels. When we say umbels, we mean like flat, like a dinner plate would be. And so, of course, it's not that big, but it's as big as the palm of my hand. And it will be flat. When it starts to bloom, it's going to be turned down just a little bit. As it ages, it comes up to the umbel, and then it's going to turn into itself and create what we call the bird's nest or bird's cage. And that is protecting all the seeds. So where it was a flower, it actually becomes seeds.
I love that.
And that it would protect its seeds that way is just wonderful. We can take the seed apart after it has dried and sprinkle around if we wanted to, and have the Queen Anne's lace in another area. But if you've not had it in your area or your yard, you might want to put it there. It just is so pretty in a landscape even.
But it's not a native. I mean, that's something for us to really be certain that we recognize too, that when we're planting stuff that we love our Queen Anne's lace, but it can be quite invasive. So in some states it's actually considered a noxious weed, but we do enjoy the beauty of it. Beauty is medicine too, and we want to make sure it's not also displacing our native plants.
Exactly.
So if you do plant it, you might cut off the seed heads so you can control where the seeds go. That's something we haven't done because there's so much of it in our area. It's really naturalized in all of the United States.
It has. But it's such a pretty, pretty thing at this time of the year that people just kind of ooh and ah. They'll come in the shop. What is that plant?
Because it is so lacy. It's wild carrot. A lot of people don't realize it's wild carrot. That's where our carrot vegetable actually comes from, is the root of the Daucus carota, the Queen Anne's lace, which is it's really interesting to think about. Where do our vegetables come from? They didn't used to look like that. They used to be really teeny tiny and not incredibly sweet, and a little bit more bitter. And just because of cultivation, they are now big and sweet. So, but it's really fun to look at this plant and to use it for beauty. And also the U.S. colonists actually who brought it here, it's actually a Mediterranean plant, they used the leaves for wound healing and used part of the plant, I know, for a dye. And the seeds are also edible, and both edible and medicinal. Modern herbalists might use them for intestinal gas or bloating, but they are not recommended for anybody wanting to get pregnant because they are traditionally used as a contraception. So it's important to be really aware of that. They can have some endocrine or hormonal effects on us too. But I love that it's a shapeshifter plant. How it's just that like you said, the umbel and then the turning inward. I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful, unusual plant. So
It is.
we hope you get to see somewhere you are and enjoy its beauty.
Or stop out at the shop. You'll see a lot of this along the road, but we'll have a bouquet on our table always.
And you make cards with it.
I do. I like to press the flower since it's a flat flower anyway. I take the flower head and turn it upside down so the top is to the book. And I like to use an old telephone book. I have a really thick telephone book. Came from Lincoln when I lived near Lincoln, Nebraska. To find a telephone book anymore is going to be
no such
quite-
thing.
I'm hanging on
Kids
to
are
mine.
going, what's a telephone book?
Right. So I hang onto mine and use it for pressing flowers or leaves. What I like to do is put a paper towel down inside the book, and then I'll put that umbel of the flower face down, cut off that stem as close as I possibly can, and close the book. So I'll put 3 or 4 or 5 on a page even, and then I can make cards out of them. And since I've given all mine away, I don't have any right now, and so I have them out to start making cards. I just use a khaki-colored cardstock, and I will put a black paper on here, and then the black paper is what I will actually glue my Queen Anne's lace to, the dried Queen Anne's lace. And I like to spray it with an adhesive. And so I take it out into the garage and I'll lay it down on a piece of paper and I'll spray the back side of it. I come in very easily, carefully, and with my fingers or maybe a tweezers you can take it and position it where you need it to go. And then on the back of the card, well, of course inside you could write a note, but on the back of the card I have information about this plant. So if I'm sending it to a friend and they may not be familiar with it, what this plant is, this way they'll have all the information and they'll learn all about Queen Anne's lace.
What a special card to receive, and what a great thing to do. Something homemade is
And to
always, I think, well received.
and to share the information about what
You bet.
who she is.
Yeah, who she is, right? Yeah, and it's important if you are looking for Queen Anne's lace to
Yes.
recognize that carrot family, I mean, that family actually contains some of the most poisonous plants that we have in North America. And so there are some that look similar that are very, very poisonous. So you want to be very cautious and know for sure what you're looking for. And there are some ways that you can tell who she is. A couple of funny ones are
She has hairy legs,
she has hairy legs. The queen has hairy legs.
which means that she has hairs on the side
Yeah.
of the stems.
Right.
And if you feel the stem, you'll feel all the hairs going up and down. And so she has hairy legs.
She does, and there's another telltale also, which the middle of the flower sometimes has some dark burgundy petals.
Has just a little flower in the middle that is the burgundy color. The queen pricked her finger when she was doing her sewing, and a drop of blood fell in the middle of that flower.
I love that,
Or so
Laura.
they say. But really what the science is saying is that little red dot in there, and most of the flowers will have them. Once in a while you'll see a few that won't. But that little red dot was actually put there because insects could not see the white flower as well. And they see that red and they can go right to the flower then, and so they can have pollen off it.
Pollinator bullseye.
Yes, it is. So that was what they say anyway. I think I like that.
Yeah, I think
definition.
to me she's a playful plant.
Yes.
She's very playful with her hairy legs out there, and dancing in the breeze with her very lacy head. And I think that she's very playful, and I think summertime brings out our inner child a little bit to play, and if we let it.
Most of us don't let it.
It's so true.
Work is serious business.
Right.
But it is sometimes we need to let go.
We do. And I think in this culture, we tend to wear being busy as a badge of honor. Are you being productive? And rest and play are equally important as work. And so I think it's important for us also as adults to take the time. What makes you happy? What makes you laugh? What brings you joy? What is fun for you? And to think about these things. Sometimes, when's the last time I thought about that even? I try to, at the beginning of the year when we were picking words for the year, play is one that I'm always drawn to because I tend to not have time to do that and not take time to do that. And I think I do think it's important in our lives. And so I am striving to do more of that. There was actually a study in 2011 that asked people to rate themselves on behaviors, and really they were looking for, are they playful? And what they found was that people who had higher playfulness scores were more creative. They had more of a tendency to approach life with excitement and energy. They had more of a sense of hope and humor, and they were able to deal with stress better, which stress is such a big deal for our health. We really have to try and lower our stress and deal with stress. And if we tend to approach things with a more playful attitude or a playful way of looking at things and experiencing things, then that it's setting that intention, I think, can be helpful. So what brings you joy? What do you have fun doing? And how can you bring more play into your life? Encourage you to think about those things, and feel free to comment below. We'd love to hear some ideas of how do you make time for play in your life.
I think being lighthearted is as a mental activity, more or less, to say is going to be a little more lighthearted in what I'm doing.
Right.
Play for me at this age is reading a book,
right,
or stitching.
And you get together with your stitching group, and that's playful,
play, because
right?
we do laugh a lot,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of fun there. So yes, it is important to find those places that
Even
we can.
just find moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I can remember talking with a friend about my relationship with my husband Derek, and I said, one of the things I really appreciate about him is he makes me laugh every day. And I can remember she turned to me and went, I can't remember the last time I laughed with my husband. And I just thought, that is so sad, because we have to laugh. I mean, if we don't have a sense of humor about life,
even if we just
can
laugh
really,
at ourselves.
Right, exactly. It can just drag you down. And that's what we're doing most of the time, right? Just laughing at the absurdity of life.
Yes, sometimes there are things I do that I just laugh at myself.
Right.
But it is important to play, and especially do it now while you can. When you get to my age, you don't play quite as much as you'd love to.
Yeah, I think about playing in the water. I loved that when I was a kid, and I can't remember the last time I got in the water. And so that might be something for me to work on here. Not work on, to play on.
There you go, to play on. There you go.
Well, I wanted to close today with a quote that's attributed to Maria Sabina, a Mexican healer and poet. And she said, "Heal yourself with the light of the sun and the rays of the moon, with the sound of the river and the waterfall, with the swaying of the sea and the fluttering of birds. Heal yourself with mint, neem, and eucalyptus. Sweeten with lavender, rosemary, and chamomile. Hug yourself with the cocoa bean and a hint of cinnamon. Put love in tea instead of sugar, and drink it looking at the stars. Heal yourself with the kisses the wind gives you and the hugs of the rain. Stand strong with your bare feet on the ground and with everything that comes from it. Be smarter every day by listening to your intuition, looking at the world with your forehead. Jump, dance, sing so that you live happier. Heal yourself with beautiful love, and always remember, you are the medicine."
With that, we'll plan to see you next week.
Good earth blessings to you.